Welcome back to the EAM Crypto channel and to episode number 17 of the weekly recap slash upcoming week preview. A lot to cover. I had another crazy week. And before we get started and dig into the charts and talk about a couple really crazy charts, I just wanted to do a big thank you to our partner, Swapsicle, for their partnership. They've been supporting our channel. Go check out Swapsicle. I'll have all the links below. The video description, they have a lot going on. There's so much more than just the DEX. So go check them out for all your swaps and farming. They have a completely doxed team. Their legal team's completely doxed. And these guys are just building and building. They're going to be around for a long time. Now, if you want to trade on leverage or if you want to short crypto, then check out my link below. I am an affiliate for Bitget. There's some cool rewards that you can get with being signing up through my link. And that's been a platform that I've been using now for almost a month for all my shorts and for leverage trading, and I'm very happy with Bitget. So let's dive into things. So much to talk about. The first thing I want to say is that, look, guys, even though we have the bear on the thumbnail and things have been incredibly bearish, and we've been calling for bearishness, I think, since I started this channel 8-9 months ago, it is important to keep the end in mind. And at the end of the day, crypto fundamentals have never been better. So even though I'm still bearish as far as price action and all that kind of stuff, and I don't think that we found a bottom, but we'll see. I do want to, make it very clear that I'm not a bear. I'm not anti-crypto. Actually, crypto has never been better. So as far as the technology and everything that's happening, as far as the partnerships in the real world outside of the crypto world and actually integrating the two, that's all been going really well for a number of different, different chains and different projects. Matic is probably doing the most with everything that they've done with Pepsi-Cola, or was it Coca-Cola? I can't remember. With Disney, with all these different partnerships. So you throw all that into it, plus the fact that it is starting to become more and more mainstream all the time. We are at all-time highs with number of folks that actually own a Bitcoin, own 10% of Bitcoin, own any Bitcoin. We are at all-time highs. So also important to note that, for example, millennials only have about 5% of the wealth. Just think about that, 5% of the wealth. So it's the baby boomers that have most of the wealth right now. Well, in time, that's going to change. Also, as hopefully one day there's some kind of, way to incorporate Bitcoin into your 401k, maybe some of that baby boomer will go into, the crypto space as well. So it's just really important to know that right now you want to protect what you have or gain more by, picking some very smart longs and shorting this market while it's still very bearish, so that you can have the most as far as assets when this next bull run comes. Because when the next bull run comes, I think we're going to see all-time highs. I really do. And the best way to benefit from that is from protecting what you have now. So let's get into the charts. There's a lot to discuss. All right, so first and foremost, before we get into all the charts, so just real important recap with Powell. And I covered this on my analysis videos that I do during the week. I'm trying to do them daily when I can, but I had to travel this week. Look, guys, there was nothing bullish about what Powell said during his last, what was it, Tuesday, I think it was, or Wednesday? Yeah, it was Wednesday. There was nothing bullish about it. I guess one thing, the fact that he stated that they're not going to be selling MBS, mortgage-backed securities, as of now, or probably ever, who knows. But that was probably like the only bullish thing to take from it. If you look at the words he used the word restrictive twice. He no longer used neutral. He said neutral in Jackson Hole a couple of times, not restrictive. He also said that there would be economic pain to be felt, and I think he said it 3 different times. He literally said economic pain needs to be felt, and he also made it crystal clear that he wants to see some pain in regards to layoffs and the workforce. So it could not have been bearish. What he said was basically stating we're going to feel pain, get used to it, and it's going to be a while. So that is something really important to take in from it. A lot of people thought, oh, it's another nothing burger. He didn't say anything, or there's something, somehow they thought it was bullish. No, it was bearish, which is really bad for risk on assets like Bitcoin and like crypto. So, my stance is still very bearish for now. We'll see when that changes. And look, as long as BTC, we'll get into it right now, but as long as BTC is under 19,900 on any kind of close 4 hours or more, maybe even 2 hours. I mean, you cannot think that, oh yeah, let's get bullish right now. You just can't. So I'm not saying that, we can't go on some kind of, little bull run. There's bull runs and bear markets all the time. We've seen them. And it's completely possible that another one can happen, especially as the traditional markets are about to hit some spots where there might be a bounce. But at the end of the day, unless Bitcoin is over 19,900, I'm super bearish. Now, if it gets over 19,900 and it stays there, back tested as support, closes there, okay, now let's talk about what we can see. And then we'll take it. There's so many levels, there's so much resistance, and it's going to present a lot of shorts, I think, in the meantime, and a lot of good longs. But until we get to that, I mean, you got to stay really, really bearish. So let's get into the Dixie. The Dixie, here it is on the weekly chart. I'm going to show it again. I'm going to keep showing it because it's the most important chart, I think, in my opinion. On the weekly, I mean, there's just nothing, not much really keeping it from 120. I mean, there's going to be some support, some resistance, I'm sorry, around 114 to 114 to 116. You might see a ton of resistance. That could take a while. That could be choppy for a long time because it is the weekly, right? It's not a daily chart we're looking at. It's not a 4 hour. It's the weekly, so it could take time. But in time, you gotta figure that 121, 120 is where we're headed. And looking at the Dixie, don't forget that it's mostly comprised of it basically competing against the euro, right? And the euro's just been getting hammered. So if you're bearish on the euro, you're probably gonna be bullish on the Dixie and vice versa. And look, I mean, we'll see what happens long term. I mean, can this be sustained like for, you know, generations to come? As far as the current makeup of things on the macro, I don't know. You know, the U.S. with the U.S. dollar, I mean, GDP for the U.S. is about 25% of the world GDP, but yet about 85% of it goes through the dollar. That's, you know, that's a big gap there. So can that really happen for sure, forever? If the you know, the U.S. dollar gets to like 120 or higher, are other countries going to start thinking to themselves, maybe there's a way to around this where we can get rid of this? You know, basically it's like the middle person, right? The U.S. dollar. So it's just going to be very interesting to see how things work out over time. And it's just something to consider as you're trading. Like if you don't have an understanding of the macro, it's going to hurt you in trading, especially if you're doing short-term trades because it's all so connected. So yeah, so we covered the Dixie over time. 120, 121 seems inevitable. It really, really does. Now, if we look at Bitcoin, I don't have any open positions right now as far as day trades or anything like that, because Bitcoin just kind of looks kind of blah. Like there's indicators both. I mean, there's just nothing telling us that it's going to go up or down. I mean, if you have to have a bias, obviously bearish right now because of the fact that we're underneath 19,900. But there's not anything really telling us, you know, compelling us either way right now. I mean, if anything, the 4 hours starting to look a little better. The negative momentum is starting to wane, so maybe sellers in the 4 hours starting to get a little tired, and maybe that is the charts telling us that the traditional markets may bounce next week a little bit because they're so due for a bounce. But I mean, it's just really, really hard to see anything that you love either way, for either a fresh long or a fresh short. So if we look at Ethereum, again, on the 4 hour, not bad, you know, positive, negative momentum starting to wane. But if you look at the daily, it is starting to get a little better for the first time in a bit. So again, you know, Ethereum going all the way up to 1421 and then rejecting hard, that would not surprise me at all. At all. That would be actually a scenario that would make a lot of sense to me. So I'm gonna, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but my channel is to tell you guys what I'm doing, and for us together to become better traders. I will short the hell out of Ethereum if it hits 1421. I just don't see a scenario where it blows right through it. I just don't. I think if it's gonna blow right through it, it's gonna take some time. Maybe 2-3 hits at least. So yeah, if Ethereum hits 1421, that should present an easy, and I do mean easy, short situation in my opinion. So that's something to look out for, something I'll be looking out for next week, assuming I could even get that high. I mean, if we look at it on the weekly, and I probably should check Bitcoin on the weekly because I think that one looked even worse. Not the worst looking, I mean, not great, but not as horrible as I think Bitcoin looks really bad on the weekly. Let me get in there. Or maybe it's the monthly I was thinking about. Yeah, it's the monthly. Yeah, so Bitcoin on the monthly looks awful. God, that looks so bad. But it doesn't mean we can't get a bounce. You know, we can get a bounce as high as like 22, almost 22.5, and it's still just, you know, double top or even maybe a lower high. So, you know, but look at this, guys. For the first time in forever, we see negative momentum on the monthly on Bitcoin. I guess it's the first time ever since this chart from 2017. Wow. Yeah, so not good. I think this is a Coinbase chart. I don't know what chart this is. Yeah, it is Coinbase. So yeah, I mean, for the first time I mean, we're seeing that red mark on the monthly, and it's still not oversold or anything like that. So on the monthly, how can you be bullish on this asset? If this wasn't called Bitcoin, I wouldn't even think about this chart right now because it just looks so damn bearish. So on the monthly, Bitcoin, just, I hate it, but it looks really, really bad. It just does. So keep that in mind with everything you're doing. But again, this is on the monthly. Doesn't mean that we can have a nice little bull run. Doesn't mean we can't have a nice October. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll have to play it day by day, week by week. Another thing I wanted to talk about, EOS. Again, this chart is just looking all sorts of yummy for shorts. If you want to do like a long-term short, I don't hate it. I mean, look at it on the daily. The negative momentum just keeps building. RSI just keeps dropping. There's really nothing to like here at all. Nothing to like at all here. Now there's a lot to like from a short. I closed my short for a nice little gainer earlier today, I think it was, just because I'm just uneasy about the weekends right now. Low liquidity, crazy runs can happen up or down. So I'd rather just wait. I'd rather just wait till the futures, the traditional market futures open at 5 p.m. Central on Sunday, and then see how they open. And they open up bearish. Okay, let's see what we can do. But in case you didn't notice, the Nasdaq over the last 3 trading days dropped about 4.5%. Bitcoin only dropped about 1%. A little decoupling of Bitcoin and Nasdaq, maybe just a little. We'll see. We'll see if that trend continues. But I thought that was pretty cool to see, pretty interesting to see. But for a trader, that's only going to make things more choppy and kind of make the indicators not be working in with each other to make it easy for these trades. So I kind of didn't like that. I didn't really like the decoupling of Bitcoin from the Nasdaq at the end of the week, because it just makes it harder to trade, in my opinion. Maybe for you guys, some of you guys, that helps your trades in some way, but it made it harder for me. So I kind of feel like it should have been a lot more profitable the week with some of these shorts than it was. Still was a good week, but could have been a lot better if Bitcoin didn't decouple from the Nasdaq. So that's something to consider with EOS. Again, they just had that hard port to Antelope, and that's what got all this excitement. Got it up from 82, 83 cents down here somewhere there, somewhere around there. So yeah, I think 82 cents. Here we come for EOS sooner or later. So if you want to do a long-term short here, I don't hate it. In the short term, could it run up and give us another lower high up here somewhere around here? Who knows where? Yeah, sure, it can happen. But I really think this chart's just saying that's going to keep dropping, and 82 cents makes a lot of sense to me. Wanted to check on XRP, the craziness, the madness of XRP. Wow. So looking at here at XRP on the daily, it's still overbought. Look at that, guys. Still overbought on the daily. Now, there is hella resistance for this asset at 58 cents, I think it was. So keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, this thing could run hard, and it already did once. One thing we know about XRP and the famous XRP army, when it runs hard, it runs fast. So got to be really careful if you're going to open up shorts here, because it could run up really fast. But something that I'm targeting, even though I'm expecting it to drop more before it goes up, anything can happen, especially on the weekend. Especially, who knows if traditional market futures open up in the green tomorrow afternoon. It would not shock me at all to see this asset run. And like I said, 58 cents is kind of like where I would definitely open up a short there. 58.50. That's exactly where I would open up a short. And yep, right there. Oh, such a good spot for a short. So if it does run up to 58.50, just know that I will be shorting it then. I actually like that short more than I like shorting Ethereum at 1420, 1421. So keep that in mind, but look at that, still overbought on the daily. But if you look at it in the 4-hour, I think it's starting to look a little better. No, it's still showing. The buyers are still getting very, very tired. And it's still dropping. So we're not going to see anything as far as, in my opinion, as far as XRP. It's probably going to drop before it goes up, but I guess we will see in time. All right, so another asset that I wanted to cover today, and we've been talking about it quite a bit. I feel like we've been very, very on this asset, is Ethereum Classic. Had a lot of hype, a lot of FOMO due to the fact that many felt that the merge would help this asset out, because many miners would go mine over there. But I felt like we kind of figured out before many, more mining, more higher hash rate doesn't equate to higher price action. So we're able to jump all over that, and we've been killing it, absolutely killing it with shorting this asset. So I mean, we've been shorting it like crazy. So it's been a pretty beautiful thing, and the TA has been respected time and time again. Now, as we look at this chart, there's a lot to talk about here. So first and foremost, the TA just keeps getting respected beautifully right here. I mean, look at that touch point right here on this range. And it just, I mean, it literally, it wicks above it a little bit, but it comes back to it. So we've been able to kind of trust that as a good place to sell to get out of our short positions. Just like with EOS, I forgot to cover this earlier, but you know, EOS presented a beautiful, easy, what I thought was an easy spot to get out of a short earlier this week, right here. If we look at it on the 1 day, as you can see right here at 116, it was basically, or I think it was, yeah, right there, about 115 and change. It hit almost to the cent, right, of the last few lines of support, last few times that it hit that as support. So that's how I knew that it was time to get out of the EOS short, basically at the bottom. It's hard to call bottoms, but we call that one beautifully. We didn't, the TA did. So if you you know, if you're a fan of TA, then this is a good, that was a good time to look at it. So so then, you know, EOS I still think is going to be it, and it helped us kind of get a better new position up around here instead of hanging on there and still guiding it all the way from 115 to 124. So that was just a beautiful spot that I wanted to call out because you know, with some of these assets, the TA just works out perfectly. So here we are back to ETC, and it did hit that support again. As you can see, it's clearly a lower low than this one and the one before it, right? So that is one thing to call out, but it doesn't mean it can't run up. So it's going to run up, and let's see if it does where the lower high happens. You know, there's now two lines of resistance it has to cross. We got this one right here with the green dotted lines that frankly could be very tough for it to pass through, even if it gets that high. But let's just see it. Let's just see what happens if it does get that high. That present a beautiful short opportunity. I don't see how it gets that high, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember where I was. What show it was on where it was in the 40s, and I said that I thought it was going to be in the 20s soon enough, and I kind of got laughed at because people were really buying into the whole FOMO of it, and that turned out to work out perfectly. But it wasn't me; it was just me following the TA. So I think I set it up here somewhere, right? So maybe it was like high 30s. No, it was low 40s right after it had hit the top of the range there. So let's see how long and how far it can go as far as this little run right now. It's obviously going to be very dependent on what Bitcoin does. Well, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then the Dixie, it's all correlated, right? But I am definitely keeping a very close eye on this asset. And I'm really curious to see how things map out over the next few weeks. You know, the higher it runs, the better the short opportunity. But I do have to say that, well, now one can now say that maybe it's going to be really tough to see where the resistance levels are. We're going to have to go way back here and kind of map that out and then figure out the levels. But I do think that the most obvious one would be around if it hits this green line. So just keep that in mind with ETC, because I do think that this is probably going to be one of the better ones to short due to the fact that it ran up so much so high, right? If you go straight up, you're going to go straight down. Now, it has had in a very low kind of time, how can I word this? It's been a lot choppier as far as the coming down than the run up. I see that. Whereas here, it was, you know, pretty much a straight line down. Here was a straight line up. And now this line down has been very choppy. I mean, it's been doing it, but it's taking its sweet time. So I do find that pretty interesting. So it does seem to be showing that it has some support that it didn't have before. And I think it's because of everything that we just talked about due to the merge. So it is something to consider. And, you know, so moving forward, during the next bull run, this asset will probably see all-time highs. That's, you know, for sure. But in the meantime, I'm kind of eyeing this level down here on $12. I mean, it just makes a ton of sense to me that it goes down to those levels again. So yeah, we will see what happens. But again, you know, straight down, straight up, and now it's, you know, clearly trending down, but doing it in a very different fashion. but it's presenting a million different opportunities. I think I was even long on this asset at one point, maybe right before the merge. I can't even remember. So, I've been all over the place with it, but just, something that I wanted to map out. And then as far as the DeFi, sorry guys, was not expecting to talk for 5 minutes about ETC. As far as the, some of the DeFi projects that we cover, it's just, the liquidity is just so low here. So, of course you have MDB doing really, really well. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see what this asset does come the bull run. It hit all-time high just the other day of 1877, almost 19 cents. Very, very cool. Gave some back, and it's just been doing that a lot. And yeah, we're very excited to see where this asset goes long term. Volume's low, 32K. Volume's low, and like I said last week, and I've said it before, they just need to figure out a way to get the name out and of what they're doing, what they've been able to accomplish during the bear market outside of the DeFi space. And they do. This market cap's going to just go through the roof. It's going to be out of control. So we will see what happens with them. But everything else, as far as DeFi, you got Spring Game. I did an interview with them earlier in the week, and look, they have their own kind of homegrown, cooked version of what Hoard's doing with price stability. So it's not a liquidity management system like Hoard has. It's their own deal. It's theirs. They created it. I love it that it's homegrown. It's their code, and it's clearly working, and it's been able to sustain this project. So really like that. This is basically the projects that are doing well in DeFi, for the most part, are these types of projects that have this kind of stability with their price to some kind of embedded system or manual system, whatever. So that's worked out really, really well for them. But everything else just hurting. Sphere, I know they have that big, cool following, and they have a big name. But look, guys, there's just nothing to like here. I get asked about Sphere so much in my DMs. It's crazy because I've never really said that I was like a huge fan, other than at the very start, right, with the pre-sale and all that. We like 8x'd our money. We could have 32x'd our money, but I sold pretty quickly, too quickly. But hey, I'm not going to cry about an 8x. 8x's are a beautiful thing. But yeah, this chart on the daily, really on any time frame, there's just nothing to like here, guys. So again, my answer to you guys is going to be the same. And it's shocking to me how much you guys ask me about this asset. But there's just nothing to like here. And the only thing that really helped it was that Jesse Eckel video. The Jesse Eckel video made it 3x from here or 2x. I can't even remember where it started, or maybe it was here. I can't remember, guys. But other than that, it's been nothing but downtrend here, and I would not touch this asset anytime soon. If you want to DCA at some point because you believe in Sim and what they're trying to do, the fact that I heard that they are being profitable right now through all the different things they're doing, fantastic. But as far as just looking at the TA and fundamentals, I would not touch this asset. I just wouldn't. There's nothing that I like here, and that's kind of goes the same for most of DeFi. I hate to say it, but wine just hasn't been able to find its footing. It really sucks. I do watch it daily, want to see a bottom, just don't see the bottom happening. And here on the daily, clearly just it's trying to find a bottom. We thought that this would have been the bottom. I really thought here at $31 it would have, it really looked like this was it, but nope. Yeah, just got more of the same, and now it's down to $11. And what's killing this is right here, the volume, 2K. Volume is just too low. There's not enough liquidity in DeFi right now. And, it's not anybody's fault. It is what it is. So protect your money. Be very, very careful. Even M-Share is now back after a nice little run. M-Share, Owens, they're doing a lot of cool stuff. And we all know that they can self-sustain because of their revenue from their auto compounder. But as far as price action, looks a lot better than most in DeFi. We'll say that. It is starting to maybe find its footing up here, and maybe on the daily present us with a higher low, a higher high, a lower high, a higher low. There we go, higher low. I've been talking for too long, so that would be good to see. But again, this asset's not going anywhere. M-Share is not going anywhere, guys. So keep that in mind. So yeah, so I think that about covers it for this week. And I still would not DCA into any metaverse, gaming, play to earn, all that stuff. Nope. Just let it keep dropping. And then when the right time comes, you're going to get it on the cheap. and that's how you're going to get your 10x's and maybe 20 and maybe if you're lucky 50x's. Got to get it on the cheap. So the more those assets drop, the better, because we know that they will have their time in the sun come the next bull run. But in order to be able to, really pump money into those types of assets, you got to protect what you have. So I hope that this helps, and I'll do another video on Monday. Take care.